Right now, a local school security director's future hangs in the balance as the Board of Education considers his termination for allegedly putting his hands on a student.
Plus, a small airplane crash lands in the middle of a Wanakee neighborhood, leaving 2 on board with minor injuries. What police are saying led to that incident.
And time is running out for a rescue of the 5 people aboard a submersible missing in the North Atlantic Ocean. The latest efforts by the Coast Guard to locate the watercraft. That's all coming up right now at 10. New video tonight shows the moment the security director for the Verona Area School District took a student down to the ground last month. Corey Saffold, the man in the black, was charged with child abuse, intentionally hitting a child, and he now may be without a job. The district's Board of Education is meeting right now to determine if he should be fired. In that incident you just saw on video, Saffold is accused of using his elbow to hit a student in the head, wrestle them to the ground, and punch them.
Now, his attorney pushes back on those allegations, though. She says the student had allegedly been acting out throughout the morning and threatened to assault school staff members, and that Saffold was threatened with physical violence. During tonight's meeting, tensions bubbled up a few times when some of the several dozen community members there to listen, they interrupted testimony, making comments in support of Saffold. The district arguing that Saffold should be terminated for his actions that day. Saffold's lawyer saying he acted in self-defense and to keep other students safe. Right now, that meeting is still underway. Stay with News 3 Now this morning and channel3000.com for the very latest on the Verona Board of Education's decision. The Dane County Medical Examiner's Office says 20-year-old Nicholas Taylor Washington is the victim from Sunday morning's fatal shooting in downtown Madison. He was shot on East Dayton Street around 3:40 that morning and later died at the hospital. Police believe he was targeted, but no arrests have been made. The Madison PD Violent Crimes Unit is investigating. Anyone with information is asked to call Crime Stoppers. The number there at the bottom of your screen, 608-266-6014. Close call in Wanakee this afternoon after a small plane crash landed in a neighborhood just north of the village airport.
Fortunately and amazingly, no one was seriously hurt, but both people on board were taken to the hospital. Wanakee Police Chief Adam Kreitzman says the plane had engine trouble shortly after taking off. The plane couldn't make it back to the airport, with the pilot landing it on Knightsbridge Road, where it then crashed into 2 vehicles on the ground. The sound of the crash and the sight of an airplane on a residential street brought out the neighbors to see what happened.
Sound like bangs, like it sounded like a car crash, so it sounded like real light, like you could tell something had hit something, but you would have never thought in a million years that it was a plane like crashing right here on your block into your car.
Authorities have reached out to the FAA to see if the agency plans to investigate the crash. New at 10, a Madison family of 4 is displaced tonight after their Badger Lane home caught fire this afternoon. Here's a look at the aftermath. These photos are courtesy from the city of Madison. Firefighters say the fire actually began outside, involving a wood pile, and spread to the home. Right now, fire investigators are working to determine the cause.
And a home in Verona caught fire this afternoon. Crews called to a house in the 200 block of Legion Street and arrived to find these flames coming from the roof. No injuries were reported, but 3 people living there are now displaced. That home considered a total loss. This time, it's unclear what started that fire. First official day of summer brought out more hot weather. Right now, it's the rain that we desperately still need. Julian has our first warn forecast.
That's right. So we're just a few days away from our best chance of getting any kind of rainfall for us here in southern Wisconsin. But until we get there, folks, it was a hot one for us here in southern Wisconsin to start off summer. And on top of it, our air quality advisories aren't going anywhere for the next couple of days. They'll actually be in effect until 11 p.m. for Friday. And folks, we're going to be seeing those warm and hot temperatures continue for us here in southern Wisconsin, and a resurgence of some hazy smoke over the next couple of days, especially once we get into Thursday night, transitioning into our Friday. Taking a look at planning out our Thursday. Now at the nighttime, we're going to start to cool down into the lower 60s. Tomorrow, it's still going to be a hot one for us here in southern Wisconsin, especially for Madison. Our high temperatures will be knocking on the door of 90 degrees, where some areas would even see 90 degrees as we get into our Thursday afternoon and evening hours. But starting off in the mornings, not going to be too bad. We'll be into the lower 60s and then warm into, again, those upper 80s. Around southern Wisconsin, not going to be nearly as hot hot over towards Platteville, around the mid-80s, but nevertheless, we're still looking for a warm and hot day for us here in southern Wisconsin. Now, talking about the rain, we're expecting late Saturday night and for Sunday to be giving us periodic showers and potentially even a couple thunderstorms as we get into our Sunday morning and even our Sunday afternoon and night. And it's going to be trying to carry itself into our Monday as well. We'll be talking about how much rain we can expect here in southern Wisconsin and better timing in a few moments. Until then, over to you.
All right, Julian, thank you. A soldier from southern Wisconsin killed in action during World War II will be laid to rest next week in Beloit. Army Private First Class Clinton Jaloski died January 14th, 1945 at the age of 21. It happened in France after his patrol came across attacking German soldiers. Jaloski's body couldn't be recovered at the time, but his ID tags were found about 15 years ago. Then in 2020, the Department of Defense exhumed the remains of an unknown soldier from an American cemetery in France, and upon testing, those remains were identified as Jaloski. He'll be buried next Friday, June 30th in Beloit at Calvary Cemetery.
Right now, Madison's Hairball intersection is closed for the first night as crews continue construction in the area. The closure began at 10 o'clock and lasts until 5 o'clock in the morning. Between those hours, only right turns are allowed at the intersection of South Blair, East Williamson, and John Nolan. The overnight closures will last through the rest of the work week. It is scheduled to end Saturday morning at 5. Improvements
are coming to Wisconsin's agricultural roads. Governor Evers was in Stoddard today to sign Senate Bill 247, making agricultural road improvements for funding from state aid programs.
But the most important thing is around safety. And why should certain people in the state of Wisconsin not have safe roads? And this provides those resources. Obviously, in rural Wisconsin, most of it is agriculture.
The bill also specifies requirements for projects to receive funding under that program. State lawmakers are debating an overhaul regarding how Wisconsin students learn to read. Some are attributing the slipping scores to the method in which students are currently being taught. A bill passing the Assembly today would create a new Office of Literacy within the State Department of Public Instruction and make teachers avoid using the 3-cueing approach, which they say fails students. It essentially teaches students to look for context clues if they don't know a word. Now, that's different from phonics, which teaches students more to sound out words. The $50 million legislation would spend money to help retrain teachers and also provide literacy coaches to schools in Wisconsin that most need that extra help. The governor's office says it is still reviewing the legislation. They don't know whether the governor will support it.
The average test scores for 13-year-olds are still on the decline. That's according to a new report from the National Assessment of Educational Progress. Education leaders say the coronavirus pandemic is a big reason why. When comparing test scores over a 3-month period from last school year compared to the 2019-2020 school year, they found last year's test scores were down 4 points in reading and 9 points in math. The report also showed a bigger gap between white and black student test scores. There was a 13-point score decrease among black students compared to a 6-point decrease among white students. Well, Madison has joined a short list of cities that have made themselves a sanctuary for transgender people. A unanimous vote last night by the City Council comes after the Dane County Board of Supervisors approved a similar symbolic resolution last week. Both of these declarations come after the first transgender pride flag was raised in front of the Madison Municipal Building earlier this month. Nina Martinez Rutherford, the city's first trans-elected official, hopes other cities see the progress by Madison as a beacon to move forward with sanctuary designations.
There is bipartisan support at the Capitol for a bill passed that could allow pharmacists to prescribe and dispense birth control. Republican Representative Joel Kitchens, who sponsored the bill, is optimistic it'll get a vote in the Senate after a similar measure stalled out last session. Now, under current state law, women can only get most birth control through a prescription written by a doctor or advanced practice nurse. Supporters of the bill say it is a way to prevent more unwanted pregnancies.
Birth control is 99.9% effective if it's used consistently, and one of the biggest obstacles to that is the availability. So this will help considerably with that.
Additionally, Wisconsin Republicans also introduced a measure that would create rape and incest exceptions under the state's abortion ban.
At least 8 more rescue ships are joining the international effort to find a missing submersible carrying 5 passengers somewhere in the North Atlantic Ocean.
But it is believed the submersible will run out of remaining oxygen by morning. Ken McLeod has more on the frantic search for the watercraft.
As time runs short, Canadian military and U.S. Coast Guard teams ramped up the desperate North Atlantic search for the missing submersible with 5 people on board.
This is an incredibly complex search operation requiring both surface and subsurface elements, and our unified approach is critical.
Officials say the massive span of the search makes it exceptionally challenging to mobilize large amounts of equipment quickly. The 22-foot carbon fiber vessel set out on Sunday for the wreckage of the Titanic on the ocean floor when the craft lost contact with its support ship. Wednesday, rescuers investigated underwater sounds described as banging noises detected for a second straight day.
With respect to the noises specifically, we don't know what they are, to be frank with you. The good news is, what I can tell you is we're searching in the area where the noises were detected.
Still holding out hope, authorities expanded the search to twice the size of the state of Connecticut in waters 2.5 miles deep. But time is critical. According to some estimates, oxygen on board the submersible called the Titan could run out as early as Thursday morning. Stockton Rush, the CEO of the company leading the expedition, is the pilot. The passengers are a British adventurer, 2 members of a prominent Pakistani business family, and a Titanic expert. Ken McLeod for CBS News, Boston.
Next, the Tenant ProPublica investigative piece report accuses Supreme Court Justice Samuel Alito of an ethics impropriety from 2008. That report says he rode on the private jet of billionaire Paul Singer on a luxury fishing trip. ProPublica says Alito didn't report that vacation, and Singer's hedge fund later came before the court at least 10 times. Now, Alito's response in a Wall Street Journal op-ed that actually came out before the investigative piece, he says he was just filling an empty seat on the jet, so he thought his travel would not cost Singer any extra.
I think the really important fact here is that when Paul Singer later had cases at the court, Justice Alito did not recuse himself.
Justice Alito says he stayed at a lodge for free but didn't believe he had to report that at the time. He wrote that he's barely spoken with Singer over the years. According to ProPublica, the billionaire spokesperson says the two never discussed Singer's business interests. More local stories are ahead at 10.
Cheese tasters are wanted. What UW-Madison is looking for in a candidate and why it's not all fun and games.
Our phones keep us constantly connected. But what if they had a mode to help us actually connect? To limit screen time, but not quality time. And to give us rhythm instead of algorithms. Introducing Us Mode. Set your phone for human connection at US Cellular.
Attention, Wisconsin veterans.
I'm Tony Evers, the governor of Wisconsin. If you are a veteran struggling to pay for rent, utilities, or other life-sustaining services, I want you to know that the Veterans Rental Assistance Program is here to help. The Veterans Rental Assistance Program was created by and for people living in Wisconsin, with benefit approvals being issued to veterans in just days, not months. You have already made a most noble sacrifice. You shouldn't have to continue doing so. We are here to support you. With pride in the way, it's never easy to ask for assistance, but rest assured we are here to help. The VRAP team is standing by to help. So call 833-WISC-VRAP or visit VRAPWI.com. You've always been there for us. We want you to know that we're here for you. On behalf of the state of Wisconsin, thank you.
At Honda, we offer complimentary maintenance for 2 years or 24,000 miles. Just enjoy the ride, knowing we cover routine items like oil changes, tire rotations, and multi-point inspections. Honda Service Pass, available to purchasers of all 2023 Honda vehicles. Get yours today.
Imagine this. It's 1968, and the mayor of Milwaukee says nope to Summerfest. How many bands would you have never seen? And how many lakeside selfies just wouldn't exist? You'd never have met your new best friend while singing along to every song. Or know the feeling of hitting all 12 stages before the headliner. Thankfully, 55 years ago, Summerfest was a yes. And every year since has been one to remember. Don't miss Milwaukee Summerfest, presented by American Family Insurance.
Right now at US Cellular, you can get a new phone without having to trade in your old one.
Trade you my PB&J for that phone.
No, kid, you don't have to trade. See? $1,200 off any phone at US Cellular. No trade-in needed.
Boom. Chocolate milk.
I'll take the chocolate milk.
U.S. Cellular, built for us.
My girl Lala and I have so much in common. Is your son as protective about you as mine is over me? He'd be like, Mom, let me see your phone real quick. For what? And please welcome Bashir Salahuddin
on the next Jennifer Hudson Show at 3. You're watching News 3 Now at 10.
I'm just a desperado down by Mexico.
A citywide celebration of music took place across Madison as today marked the 11th year of Make Music Madison. Musicians of all ages and genres signed up in advance to perform free concerts at public spaces throughout the city. It doesn't matter if you're an amateur violin player or a concert pianist. Today's event was for music artists of all abilities.
It's just so uniquely different to see all these groups at all the times. And it's a wonderful experience highlighting all about Madison and where places people should go to, and different styles of music, different strokes for every kind of folks.
Make Music Day has been happening for over 40 years around the globe after its inaugural celebration back in 1982, which was started in France. It had been held every summer solstice in more than 1,000 communities all around the world. UW-Madison Center for Dairy Research is on the hunt for a new part-time cheese taster.
But before all of you apply for the job of descriptive sensory panelists, the Big Cheese tells our Armand Rahman it's not all fun and games.
It might not sound like it on the outset, but being a cheese taster is actually a very scientific process which happens all in the lab behind me. 13. Now hiring cheese taster. Serious inquiries only.
It is a very kind of rigorous job, and the story went viral a little bit. People just kind of think, you know, you sit down, you taste some cheese, you say whether you like it or not.
When hot pizzas come out of the oven at the Center for Dairy Research, they're not gobbled up in minutes by a hungry crowd.
This week we have almost 30 pizzas that we have to evaluate.
But if you think they're just tasting them, you don't know jack.
Kind of what we're teaching them is to speak a common language. So think of like, how well does it go through a shredding machine? How well does it bake and, you know, brown, blister? How does the cheese stretch and melt and flow?
It's not just for aesthetics. The descriptive sensory panelists taste the scientific compounds and components used to flavor and preserve cheese. And they know that can be risky.
An enzyme modified cheese, and I had a totally allergic reaction to it. The concentration was too high, which we don't know this because it's kind of wine tasting. And so the next thing you know, I'm like, Benadryl, quick.
But now panelists have a sharper eye than most at the supermarket.
You can see that on shredded cheeses, there's potato starch to keep the shreds separate. If I buy anything like a pre-made frozen like burrito or something, I know that that's not really cheese.
Because they had a hand in making sure it's Gouda for customers.
People don't realize how much work goes into the food industry as far as like quality control and research and development. Most people don't know that like professional tasting is a thing.
So if you think you can cut the monster,
keep your mind open and your palate too.
In Madison, Armand Rahman, News 3 Now.
How many cheese puns was that?
Yeah, like 5.
That's a lot. Good job, Armand. Now, the application period, we should mention, it just closed today, but CDR coordinators, they say they're always looking for occasional testers and tasters at Babcock Hall. Tito's wants you to be inspired by your inner mixologist. The company has begun selling this 128-ounce mini keg to encourage drinkers to make their own cocktails. They say consumers shouldn't give in to the, quote, conformity of canned cocktails. It's now on sale for a limited time on the company's online store for $200. All right, back to weather on this first day of summer, and it's a hot one. Julian C. right back with your full First Warn forecast. Julian.
I'm just kind of taken back. There's a lot of puns today, hasn't there?
I know.
Man, outside of the puns, though, it's still rather hot for us here to start off summer, and it's not going anywhere, folks. I'm sorry to tell you and be the bearer of bad news, but we're going to be looking at an air quality advisory in effect until 11 p.m. for all of Wisconsin, until Friday, 11 p.m. to be more specific. So be expecting hazy skies and air quality issues throughout the next couple of days, especially for those who are within that sensitive category. Now, taking a look, we did have earlier today just that thin layer of hazy skies, but the smoke coming in from the wildfires in Canada will start to move its way back into southern Wisconsin, impacting areas like Madison and over towards the east once again by the time we get into our Friday. So be prepared for things to just be not really healthy for those who are sensitive to any kind of poor air quality. So those who are, make sure you're limiting your outdoor activities, especially if you have any kind of heart or lung disease outdoors. Now moving ahead into our temperatures, well, we're looking at temperatures to be into the 80s and even the 90s over the next couple of days for us here in southern Wisconsin. And we're looking at around 93 degrees once we get into Saturday. Good news is, though, we are looking for it to start to cool down just a bit once we get into Sunday, as a system that could be bringing in finally some much needed rain for us here in southern Wisconsin will move its way in and actually keep things rather cool even heading into next week. So where's that system? Well, it's over towards the west. We're still within that blocking pattern in the heat dome, which is bringing in record levels of heat over towards Texas and areas to the southern parts of the United States. For us in the upper Midwest, it's been unseasonably warm and even hot, but we are looking for that relief to come once we get into around Saturday and Sunday, as that low pressure system starts to deflate that ridging just a bit going into the back end of the weekend and then heading into parts of next week. But where's the rain? Well, the rain in itself will start to come late into our Saturday nights, into even our Sunday morning, break up and then return as we get into our Sunday afternoon and evening hours. Now, it is looking to be a bit more widespread, so many of us are looking to have showers, but in terms of thunderstorms, it could be very spotty or isolated at best. Once we get into our Monday, we're still looking for possible pop-up showers. Not looking so much for areas to the south and west, but around Madison and areas to the east, it's going to be our best opportunity to see that kind of rain. Now, how much rain are we expecting? Well, through Monday, don't hold on to these rain totals, but we could potentially see around 1/4 to 1/2 of an inch. Maybe about Monday nights, we could start to see a little bit of that heavier burst moving its way towards Madison. So maybe some areas could see around 3/4 of an inch. But nevertheless, areas to the further north of Minnesota and for Wisconsin will be seeing the heaviest amounts of rainfall. It's going to stay comfortable and quiet for tonight. Tomorrow expected to be hot and still sunny with hazy skies. But folks, taking a look at our 10-day forecast, that's pretty much what it's going to be like for the rest of this work week. We're seeing those temperatures even climb into the lower 90s for Friday and for Saturday, and then we finally are looking for a nice break by the time we get into next week. We're just looking for those rain chances coming in from Sunday to Monday, which is much needed, and will finally start to cool things off just a tad bit as we head into next week.
And coming up in sports, the Badger men picked to have a much better season than last year, where Wisconsin sits in a way too early top 25 poll. That's next on News 3 Now.
News 3 Now First Warn Weather is brought to you by Lazy Boy Home Furnishings and Decor.
Discover a shopping and design experience as comfortable as the furniture. Lazy Boy Home Furnishings and Decor. Schedule your free design consultation today.
Dear Freedom, here's to more miles driven, more dollars saved, and more electrified vehicles than any other brand. Yours, Toyota Hybrids. Toyota, let's go places.
Fresh produce is the best produce. That's why at Pick and Save, we invest in Wisconsin farmers to bring you the freshest seasonal picks. So no matter how you shop, your local produce always tastes as fresh as it gets. Pick and Save, fresh for everyone.
Have you ever been challenged, been tried, made a pact with your own limits? Have you been here, there, places no one should go? If you have, then you know that whatever you're capable of, so are we. No wonder Ford SUVs lead in brand loyalty. Now get an Explorer and get 0% APR financing for 36 months, $1,000 low APR cash, and $1,000 retail bonus cash. See your dealer.
Attention, Wisconsin veterans.
I'm Tony Evers, the governor of Wisconsin. If you are veterans struggling to pay for rent, utilities, or other life-sustaining services, I want you to know that the Veterans Rental Assistance Program is here to help. The Veterans Rental Assistance Program was created by and for people living in Wisconsin, with benefit approvals being issued to veterans in just days, not months. You have already made a most noble sacrifice. You shouldn't have to continue doing so. We are here to support you. With pride in the way, it's never easy to ask for assistance, but rest assured we are here to help. The VRAP team is standing by to help. So call 833-WISC-VRAP or visit VRAPWI.com. You've always been there for us. We want you to know that we're here for you. On behalf of the state of Wisconsin, thank you.
Lean back and enjoy the summer savings at the Century House. Right now, get a $100 instant rebate for every $1,000 you spend on any qualifying stressless seating. The more you spend, the more you can save instantly. So furnish an entire room with the most comfortable seating in the world and watch the savings add up. Shop the Century House, 3420 University Avenue in Madison.
When you download the Pick and Save app, you have easy access to savings every day and get personalized coupons sent straight to your phone. Save big today when you download the Pick and Save app. Pick and Save, fresh for everyone.
Dear Freedom, here's to more miles driven, more dollars saved, and more electrified vehicles than any other brand. Yours, Toyota Hybrids. Toyota, let's go places.
Badgers are no strangers to the big stage, and Rose Lavelle made one of the biggest plays on the world stage a couple years ago. The Wisconsin alum went left foot corner pocket in the World Cup final to essentially put the game away for the women's national team. This summer, she'll have her chance to do it again because for a second straight World Cup, Lavelle will represent the United States. It's been a whirlwind for Packer rookies. They get drafted, head to rookie minicamp, then mandatory minicamp where they learn the playbook, the offense, and probably a couple things that they were never asked to do in college. Case in point, new tight ends Tucker Kraft and Luke Musgrave. In Matt LaFleur's offense, they were expected to both be threats in the passing game and the rushing attack.
This is what college is like, the need to know. In the NFL, it's about right here. And throwing that dot and making it into that circle every single time and then getting consistent on that's the biggest struggle.
There's a lot of learning there and there's a lot of room for improvement, but we are excited about just the talent that they both possess.
Chris Orr trying to get back into the NFL, and this might help his cause. The former Badger was named to the USFL's all-defensive team after racking up 81 tackles, 7 TFLs, and 2.5 sacks in 9 games with the New Jersey Generals. After committing to Wisconsin in January, Rob Booker has changed his mind. The Wanakee standout announced that he's decommitting from UW. Booker is tabbed as a 3-star tight end by 24/7 Sports and is coming off a junior year where he was named first team All-State. With the entire starting 5 returning, plus the addition of A.J. Storr from the transfer portal, on paper, Wisconsin looks to have a much better season than last year's trip to the NIT Final Four. ESPN also agrees. The worldwide leader released its way too early top 25, and the Badgers sit 25th in their poll. UW joins Purdue and Michigan State as the only teams ranked from the Big Ten. In-state rival Marquette is 10th in the rankings. Rubber match between the Brewers and Diamondbacks, and Craig Counsell got his steps in going from the dugout to the mound. Milwaukee used 6 different pitchers in this one, so you already know how it went. Alec Thomas smacks one back up the middle to give Arizona the lead in the 6th. D-backs won't look back. Brewers fall 5-1 the final. We're back after this.
This may look like an action-adventure movie, but it's a Nissan sales event ad.
Get 0% financing for 36 months on select Rogue trims.
These epic offers won't last forever.
Have you heard? We've outgrown our space. Again! Save up to half off floor samples and special orders at Dwellings Construction Sale. Dwellings, interior design and home furnishings. Still Madison's best-kept $150 secret.
What if in 1968 the mayor said nope to Summerfest? How many bands would you have never seen? Would hitting 12 stages in one day even be possible? Thankfully, 55 years ago, Summerfest was a yes. Don't miss Milwaukee Summerfest, presented by American Family Insurance.
This is how legends 2024 Chevy Silverado HD with Duramax diesel. And the Chevy Silverado with powerful TurboMax engine. No matter what route you take, there's a Chevy truck to get you there. Find new roads. Get 1.9% financing on all 2023 Silverado 1500 LT TurboMax pickups, or current Chevy owners get a $5,750 total cash allowance when you trade in an eligible vehicle. See your Badgerland Chevy dealer today.
Get 11% off everything now at Menards. Keep your home's exterior protected with Cedar Creek vinyl siding. This low-maintenance siding withstands the elements and comes in 16 colors. Ready to install. Just $4.99 a piece after rebate. Update your garage door opener with Chamberlain. This chain drive garage door opener comes with built-in Wi-Fi, allowing you to control and monitor your garage door from anywhere. Now, just $129.99 after 11% rebate.
Save big money at Menards. Trust your feet to Morgan's Shoes.
Birkenstock ushers in a new collection with clean lines, easier than ever closures, and the most necessary footbed in your closet. Slide into Morgan's Shoes and shop our new Birkenstock arrivals. See what's fresh for spring and summer. Birkenstock platforms and wedges, cork-powered sneakers, or up your game with our iconic men's and women's sandals.
Comfort with style. Trust your feet to Morgan's Shoes.
Morgan's Shoes, Hilldale.
Brothers Maine enjoys 4th of July festivities with family, friends, and fabulous kitchen and laundry deals. Our fireworks of savings on GE appliances and free delivery will make you ooh and ah. Feel like family at Brothers Maine.
Have you heard? We've outgrown our space. Again! Save up to half off floor samples and special orders at Dwellings Construction Sale. Dwellings, interior design and home furnishings. Still Madison's best kept $150 secret.
This may look like an action-adventure movie, but it's a Nissan sales event ad.
Get 0% financing for 36 months on select Rogue trims.
These epic offers won't last forever.
Mallards Baseball, Friday night. Come for the game, stay for the fireworks.
And we're back with Julian giving us a final check of the forecast.
One of the 3 things we're going to need to know for the next several days, well, it's going to be hot and warm. We're talking about upper 80s to 90 degrees for the rest of the week. And then finally, once we get into our Saturday nights, we'll end our dry streak, hopefully, with some showers and thunderstorms through the back end of this weekend, heading into parts of next week. So taking a look at our first 7 to 10 day forecast, we're expecting some showers and potentially a thunderstorm here and there from Sunday. Going into our Monday, more shower-like activity, but it's also going to be cooling things down to being a bit more seasonable. We're talking upper 70s and around 80 degrees.
All right, Julian, thank you. And thanks for joining us for News 3 Now at 10.
Do something good, and we'll see you back here tomorrow.